Hey guys, it's Cass with Cass Tea. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the humble Gong Dao Bei, which is the fairness pitcher. We're going to be learning what it is, why you should have it, and we'll be looking at some different types. And we're going to be doing it all by brewing some of this oolong tea here. So let's get into it. Why do you need, or why would you want, and what is the purpose of one of these little pitchers? Regardless of the style you use, what's the point? So let's say that we have 4 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're all sitting down, we're gonna have tea. Now if I take this gaiwan, which is a tea brewing tool, and I put tea in it, and I brew it, and then I pour some into everyone's cup, the first person who got the tea is gonna have a very light brew. But the last person who got the tea is gonna have a really dark, maybe even bitter brew. So that's not really fair. You want to make sure that everyone has the same taste of tea. That's why we use one of these pitchers. That way we can brew the tea, pour it in to the pitcher to hold, and then we could pour it into everyone's glass, all right? So that's kind of the idea. In fact, if you look at a coffee maker, it's sort of the same thing. If you put your coffee in and you pour the water on top and it drips down, well, the person who gets the first drip, it's going to be different than the person who gets the next or last drip. So the way that they deal with it is they have a big coffee pot at the bottom that collects it all, it equalizes the flavor, and then they can pour it into the glasses. So to make this really clear, we're going to brew some of this tea here, and we're going to see what it looks like between the first brew and the last brew, and you'll see the difference. Now before we get into that, which is kind of the fun part, I want to just point out the different types of fairness pitchers that you can find. This one is maybe more traditional, bulb shape. What's good about this is it has narrow top here, so that way it retains a little bit of heat, but it's also kind of delicate. It's not exactly minimal looking. It looks kind of specialized. Not my favorite, but it does the job. The other kind is kind of more of a scientific look, more of a modern look. And what's really great about these guys is they actually have the numbers on them. So you can see how much liquid is in it, which is really handy. If you know that you need to brew a tea with 300 milliliters of water, well, then you can measure it and see exactly how much there is. All right, well, let's get started. Let's try this experiment out. I am going to be brewing with this really nice glass gaiwan, so you can see what the tea looks like. So we'll add our tea. And by the way, if you want to learn how to brew tea with a gaiwan, we have a really great video on that, which you can click below in the comments or wait to the end of the video, and then it will be one of the options for you. So anyway, tea goes in. We're going to add our water and then drain it out right away just to refresh it. And I'll just do that here to begin with. These leaves are pretty tightly packed, so it's good to just rinse them. That's what this is called. Just so you can get rid of, well, not get rid of anything, just so you can kind of weight those leaves up and it'll make the next brews better. I'm just going to dump that out. You can also smell it now if you want. And there we go. All right, for this video, we're just going to assume that we have 4 people sitting here with us. And again, the goal is to give everyone kind of the same tea. So what I'm going to do first is use the fairness pitcher, and we'll pour into all of the glasses, and well, logically they should all be the same, right? So let's give it a try. Tea goes in, lid goes on. Now we'll use our fairness pitcher. So there we go, we have our color, right? And if we pour it in, doesn't matter how many cups we pour it into, whether it's the first or the last, right? I mean, this is obvious, right? But it's the same, right? Here, let's see if we can get a better shot of that. I mean, I know this is very obvious, but I still think it's good to see. So the color is the same, right? Obviously. So now we're going to do that again, but we're going to not use a fairness pitcher. We're just going to pour it into people's cups. I'm going to go ahead and dump this. Get all cleaned up. Now, the goal here is to brew once, just pour it into each cup, and the color should change. So let's start. I'll do my best not to get any of the tea leaves in. A little there, a little there, a little there, and a little there. I'm trying to go quick, so I'm being a little messy. Okay, so we brewed our tea, and we split it up with our guests. Let's see the result. Clean up a little bit. And just to make this really obvious, we'll do the first and the last. So it's a little bit harder to see from the top angle, but if we bring it over to this angle, so there's the last brew, and there's the first brew. Now that is different. This one is like a goldish, a light gold, almost like a silver color. And this is a dark amber. And if I smell them, this is quite strong, obviously. This is very, very light. I mean, even from the top, you can kind of see, right? So, obviously, using a fairness pitcher works because then what you're really doing is you're mixing all of these different strengths and intensities into kind of an amalgamation of all the brews. That color's pretty good, right? It's not too dark. Nice gold, amber color. So yeah, it's a good idea to use a fairness pitcher if you can. You don't really need to use a fairness pitcher. You can just pour it all into a glass. Now, the other really big benefit of using the fairness pitcher is you can do multiple infusions for one tea. So for example, this is the first infusion. Well, we can do another one and then mix them together. Individual infusions with tea will be different, right? The first infusion will taste different than the second infusion, which will taste different than the third infusion. But what you can do if you want is you can do more than one infusion at a time. And that way you can have almost like an average, right? You can kind of taste what the tea tastes like in individual pieces or over kind of the course of its whole life. I guess that's a good way to describe it. So yeah, this is a good way to make sure that everyone has equal tea and it's fair all the way through. So good visual way to see that. Yeah, so other than that, these brewers that we have, these Gong Dao Bei's fairness pitcher, you also use these to make green tea. So, you know, gaiwans are not for green tea or usually. You can, but it stews it. So oolongs, red teas, white teas, black teas, pours, that's better for this. But green and yellow, you use these guys. If you want to check them out, we actually sell these on our website. You can go check them out. They're really well made and you can see the numbers like we discussed before. But more importantly, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If there's any topic you want me to cover, please let me know, post in the comments below. Yeah, and if you want to see how to brew green tea or use a gaiwan, we have both those videos. You can see it in the comment below in the description. Yeah, and you can also subscribe if you want to get all of our new videos and stay connected with us. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you next time.